sir?
I'm great. How you doing?
I'm doing great. All right, all good? Okay, we'd like to welcome two-time Wells Fargo Championship winner Max Homa into the interview room. Max, welcome back. If we can get some comments on being back here at Quail Hollow, where you won first of your two titles at this event.
Yeah, it's cool. This place has a lot of great memories for me. And even though we, didn't win here last year, it's cool that we were here for the President's Cup. So also some great memories. I love this golf course. The tournament is run really well. Everything about this place is first class. So I love coming to Charlotte. Charlotte's probably my favorite city we go to outside of the California ones. And the golf course is tremendous, and it's in really good shape. So I love coming here. I think it's a treat for all of us to get to come. And they've had majors here, obviously President's Cup last year, and then the Wells Fargo just feels like, I'm glad it got elevated because it feels like an elevated event. So now to have that distinguished honor, if you want to say that, it just feels right. So it's cool being here.
I mean, not only looking for your third win at this event, but also your third win of the season. Just talk a little bit about the state of your game coming into the week.
Yeah, it's good. I didn't play great at Augusta. Swing was feeling pretty bad, and then carried that nicely into Hilton Head and played bad. But played really well in New Orleans. Swung it much better. Went home and kind of continued that trend, and putts will fall, law of averages. So my game feels really good, and coming to a place that I have good memories and feels like the course sets up nicely for me. It feels like I'll be able to kind of transfer what I've been doing the last couple of weeks at home and in a team event to a big individual golf tournament.
And I was going to ask, was it getting out of the funk just a little bit? Was the team event a good event for you to do that, to maybe just change gears just a little bit?
Yeah, it was great. I know we didn't play or score great, but we played well. Just both of us had our golf balls were afraid of the dark for a couple of days, but it was so much fun. It was a nice way to feel a bit looser and feel more comfortable with kind of what I was working on. And yeah, it's just that event is it's awesome just because it's obviously highly competitive, but it's so unique. And getting to walk around with one of my friends, and you feel a different kind of pressure. You don't want to let them down. So especially an alternate shot day I was thinking about it at Hilton Head when I was swinging so poorly. I was thinking, man, I just don't want Colin to have to hit from where I'm leaving it, where I'd be leaving it if I was swinging like this. So it was nice and motivating to get some work in the weekend. I missed the cut and feel ready. So it was a nice kind of slump buster in a way, to feel like I was having fun again, and the grind of everyday professional golf kind of went out the window for a week.
All right, sounds good. We'll open it up to questions. You'll raise your hand. We'll get a microphone. Let's start with Paul.
Max, just safe to say this would be a place where you feel like everything can get back on track, just good memories with the President's Cup and with your previous wins?
Yeah, I just the golf course suits me really well. I know the place quite well, obviously getting to play here every year, and missing last year but still getting to play a ton of rounds, so I'm just comfortable on this course, and I feel like I know the greens well, and there's no surprises out here. So big golf course that seems to suit what makes me comfortable off the tee. And like I said, I think anybody, you go into a golf tournament, you're not swinging well, you could go to your favorite place in the world and you're going to feel uncomfortable. So it helps that I feel quite good about where my swing's at too. But yeah, pair that with a golf course I can walk around knowing I've done well at, makes things a lot easier.
You've spoken about how important playing in like the President's Cup was for you, just getting back on site. Did any of those memories from the President's Cup kind of come back to you?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I went, played the front nine today, and 9 was our 18th hole, and it was cool and weird remembering making that putt on Friday to win our match. Just like picture how different it looked, but trying to kind of soak in that memory a little bit standing there. So this place I have a lot of really cool memories here, and those being so recent, it was fun to kind of just think about some of the places we hit cool shots from and watched Tony hit great shots from and Billy. So it was, it's just, that's the cool part about golf. When you get to play a place where you have something like that and you get to relive it in a way in your head on site, those trips down memory lane are fun.
And then just one more. Giannis went viral earlier this week, kind of talking about failure and kind of his view on it. I was just wondering if you saw that moment and kind of your take on what he said and if you kind of agree or disagree.
Yeah, it was awesome soundbite. I think the interesting part to that is I thought about it a lot. You could easily say that they failed because they did not win the championship. Everyone goes to win a championship. Everyone comes here to win a golf tournament. But I think the point is that no one but yourself decides if you failed. Like there's a potential that I could win a golf tournament and feel like I failed if I didn't meet a goal I was looking for mentally or something. So I just think the point is in sports is it's not up to the fans, it's not up to the media, it's not up to anybody other than myself if I fail. There's days I've had good days and felt like I failed because my goal was to go out there and be super positive, and maybe I wandered off of that. But, Kobe Bryant said a very similar thing that Giannis said, that there's no failing in sports as long as you kind of keep pushing and getting better, if that is your goal. So I found it quite interesting that someone as great as Giannis said that, because it puts things into perspective. It's very difficult to win a championship in anything. He's a tremendous basketball player, and to hear him feel kind of similarly, looking at it in the macro, he didn't fail to him, I would assume, because he felt like they put in a lot of work that will help them the next year and him personally. But if he doesn't feel like he failed, then he didn't fail, and I think that's the important part for everybody, whatever you're trying to do. So I thought it was great that he said that.
All right, we'll cross the aisle.
Max, we're halfway through basically the PGA Tour season and through the elevated events. How has the schedule changed for you? Have you felt a little bit more gassed compared to years past? And what does the rest of the schedule kind of look like based on how much you've played so far?
Yeah, I don't really feel too gassed. It feels like a very that's great. It feels like a similar schedule I would have had anyways. I don't typically play Hilton Head, but that didn't change too much. The rest of my year will look pretty similar. So, yeah, it feels we play golf, so it's not that. It's more mentally draining than anything, but I would feel the same. The fact that I know that there's a light at the end of the tunnel where we're going to have an off-season this year, I would say that's the only times I feel gas is kind of the back end of the fall. And it's not even just physically. It's just you just are kind of over playing golf every week. That's kind of the tricky part, which is always funny because, people in my home course, like that's all they want to do is play golf. But at a point, it just starts to get mundane. So the fact that I know we'll have a break for a little bit where we can decide if we're going to play a strenuous schedule or take some time off, I think that helps. But yeah, I don't think this has been too taxing.
All right, let's go to Adam.
Max, can you kind of compare, contrast how you felt getting your first victory here after what you went through to get to the winner's circle versus winning in the President's Cup and having such an incredible experience here last fall?
I think, although feels like more eyeballs, more pressure in a way in a team event, I think it's easier to kind of say, and I would hope I wish I could have done this just without the results, I guess, but some I've been working on that would stick out for this answer is like, whether I play well this week or not does not determine if I'm a good golfer. And whether I won that Wells Fargo the first time in 19 didn't determine if I was a good golfer. And if I played the President's Cup and went 0-5, that does not say that I'm a bad golfer. But yeah, there was a part of that when I won in 19 that I could tell myself, hey, you are a good golfer. And that's what felt a lot different. I felt like I walked around the President's Cup, knowing I qualified for that team for a reason. And I wasn't as worried about proving myself that weekend in 19, played with Rory Saturday, Duffner Sunday, in the last two groups both days. One day, the final one. And you just feel like if things go sideways, you know, does this mean I'm just not good enough? You like struggle with that first swing kind of nerves. And at the President's Cup, you're just nervous because it's a big moment, but I don't think that you look at it in a with that looming over your head. All the young guys out here and guys who are looking for their first win, you know, there's just something extra special about when it does happen for you, that until you feel that feeling, you know, I questioned, I don't know how old I was, 28, 29 when I finally won, but I just questioned if you ever will do it and if you're good enough to actually get across that finish line. So once you do it one time, I just feel like it eases your mind forever, really. You know you can and you know, you just got to show up and put in the work, and some weeks are going to be great and it's all going to click, and some weeks you're just not going to get it done. But yeah, golf's a fickle game like that. I played incredible this year at the Genesis and didn't win. I probably played better that week than I did at the 19 Wells Fargo, but I happened to finish in first. So it's like you learn those things as you get some wins under your belt, but that first one's tricky because there's just so much you're kind of wrestling with in your head.
What was it like, you know, being one of the favorites this year at a major? What did you learn about that experience?
I don't think I learned anything from that. The beauty of just playing all these, you know, golf tournaments, you know, not non-majors, is you go into. It's not you're going to the Masters one week as a favorite, and the week prior nobody thought you had a chance. So I guess you kind of just get used to that a little bit. I went into the Masters struggling with my golf swing, so that was no fun. So I learned how to grind through a cut, really, on a big golf course without having it. But as far as the pressure of being a favorite, I mean, that's just something that's put on from the outside world. On the inside, we all know, I think everybody who showed up at Augusta thought, you know, if they play great, they can win the golf tournament. So you need to go out and play great. So I didn't really feel like I picked up much, but I think a lot of that is because we get kind of practice week in and week out with that kind of like pressure that's, I guess, asserted onto us.
All right, let's take a few more. Let's go to the aisle and then back to Matt.
Hey, Max, given that you've had so much success here and those good memories walking down memory lane, does that give you an extra boost of confidence coming in this week?
Yeah, I think just the most confidence I get is just from knowing how I'll feel on certain shots. And there's something to be said about waking up in the morning and looking at a wind and direction and saying, I know what I'm going to hit on every hole. And then getting over certain putts and having good history on a lot of them. So I think that helps a lot. The memories are just fun. It makes you kind of be thankful that they've happened. But the golf course itself, knowing that you made putts certain holes and you've had success there, you feel comfortable, and being comfortable under the gun I just think it loosens you up just enough to feel like you're playing offense. And that's what I'm looking forward to doing this week. But yeah, having good history is just means that when you're on certain tee boxes, greens, fairways, whatever, you can say, hey, remember that one time I did this? That was great. You know, why could you not do that again?
All right, let's go to Paul in front here, actually, and then we'll wrap up with Shane and Matt.
Hey, Max, a simple question. Just wanted to know, why do you love golf?
That's a funny question. What's funny is, I think when I was a kid, I truly loved golf. I'm not so sure I love golf anymore, but I love competing and getting better so much. So golf provides a platform for that. People ask that in a different way a lot, but like golf is a job now. So, but when I'm home and I think about like last week, like I practiced so much, and one of the members at Whisperock asked me like on Sunday, he said, you need to take a day off. But I told him, I was like, well, it's not the golf that I miss, but I want to keep getting better at something, and this is the thing I'm the best at, so this is what I'm going to work at. So I love that golf gives me an avenue to be obsessive over something and dedicate myself towards something. So I would say now that. Back when I was a kid, I loved golf because it was a way to hang out with my friends and try to make an eagle or a birdie and then wig out for a few weeks. Now, we've done so much in the game that sadly an amazing 7-iron doesn't make me as happy as it used to, which is sad. But I don't know. I would be obsessed with something else if I didn't have this, and I'm thankful I have this because, I have direction. So I do love that about what golf is giving me at the moment.
All right, let's go to Shane, and then we'll finish with Matt.
Just playing off that real quickly, is there anything in golf, whether it's a course or a moment, that still has a sense of romance to you, or is it so completely, it's a job now that doesn't exist anymore?
No, yeah, there's a lot of, I could list a million moments of romance. The first one that comes to mind would probably be just walking up 18 here in 19, knowing that, we had got the job done. Getting to have that walk, but I have a lot. But so that, yeah, it's not that I don't love golf at all, but it's not an unconditional love. So yeah, so golf has provided me so many awesome memories and moments. I'm very grateful for this place especially. So there are a lot of romantic moments in this game.
What I was going to ask originally, it intrigued me when you talked about the offense versus defense mindset under the gun. It sounds like it's probably a subtle difference between it, but I would just be curious to hear you talk more about that and the difference.
For example, I go to Augusta, I guess I'll use as an example, or Hilton Head, and my game doesn't feel good, and I haven't had success, great success on either. I've only played Hilton Head once prior to this year, and Augusta I played a few times and never finished better. Well, I had my best finish this year at 43rd, so that says enough. So you're not feeling good about your golf swing, and you just start seeing a lot of where the ball should not go. And I feel like when I play courses like this or Riviera, a place I've had a lot of success, I just see the shot for what it is, and it's just a golf shot. And that comfort makes you feel like you are committing to things more, and you're trying to do something well instead of trying not to do something poorly. And I think it's a subtle difference that all of us go through. And when we're on the right side of that, that's typically when you see people hit a lot of great shots. If you go on the range, you'll see people hit plenty of good ones, more good ones than bad. But when you're struggling and you know what's kind of in there, it's hard to feel like you stand up on a hole and you see trouble around you. And when you're swinging well, it just feels like that washes away, and you only really see what could go right. So that would be maybe the best way I could explain that one.
All right, Matt.
Max, your journey to this point has been pretty unique, and you've also been very open and honest about what that's been like for you and some of the ups and downs. I'm wondering what you've learned about the relationship between your golf game and your mental health, and how you found some ways off the course to kind of help find success and flex that muscle.
Yeah, it's pretty remarkable. Every year, I think all of us, maybe not John, but everybody seems to have a lull. And every time I go to my physical, my golf swing, my putting stroke, my whatever, and as much as those are probably an issue, you're always, as they say, a lot closer to being back to playing great golf physically than you think you are. And every time I seem to forget that it starts kind of between the ears, and it's going to be a lot easier if I can flex that muscle, as you said. So listening to books on tape, I listened to 3 last week, and it just re-jogged the memory of, hey, I'm going to be X, Y, and Z, positive, whatever, all the cliche ones. But when I'm aware, it seems like, of how I'm going to approach the day with my happiness meter, that seems to be when I at least free myself up the most to play on the aggressively or on the offense and feel comfy, and using all these old questions you guys had just asked, like love golf more, like those things. But when you're struggling and it's easy to get into like, it feels like a death march, and I know I'm not going to hit a good shot here and this, that, or whatever. You're already not swinging it great some of those weeks, so that's not going to help you. It might be realistic, but it's not going to help you. So, but just been trying to keep up with that on a more consistent basis, reading, thinking, driving, and just kind of like, instead of going back through a bad week and saying what shots did you hit bad, try to get back in your own head and say, all right, well, like what were you thinking at those times? How do you feel? And like, do you think that helped at all? Do you think that reaction helped at all? And it's like, well, almost always it's no. So at least control what you can control, and then let the good shots come after that.
All right, actually, I have one more. We'll wrap it up with Adam.
Technically, everybody out here, it's their job. But is there someone who you look at and go, man, I wish I still loved the game the way this player does?
Well, no, because I think people like Joe always tells me, he's like, Max loves golf, and I don't think he's wrong. So I guess it just depends how. But like, if I was breaking down, someone asked me just like in passing, do you love golf? I'd say yes. But in this room, I'd like to give you guys a more detailed reason. But yeah, I mean, it just depends. I love hitting golf balls. I love all of that. But I love that because I like getting better. If there's somebody out there, I mean, Peter Malnati comes off like he loves golf and life more than anybody I've seen, and that's pretty awesome. But I think everybody, or a lot of guys out here, you could look down the range and be like, oh, he seems to like love golf. I just don't want to answer it for somebody because maybe they feel similarly to how I do. I love so much of this game, and I'm obsessed with it. But when I compare it to like loving other things, it's just different. This game beats you over the head so much. It's an abusive relationship. I give it everything I possibly have, and then I have days and weeks where I just feel like it hates me. It's quite similar to like the very beginning of parenthood when your kid's like a month old and he's just screaming at you, and you're just loving it so much, and it's not giving you anything back except literally poop. And that would be how I'd put golf sometimes. But I wouldn't trade my job for anything in the world, so I feel very thankful. But I think that like boyish love I had when I was a kid is different now, and I understand it for what it is a bit more. And yeah, it's just it's the funny part about playing a sport as your job is it's a game, but we unfortunately complicate it so much that we consider it a work at times. I think when we play our best is when we look at it as a game a bit. So it's a constant battle.
Well, Max, hang in there.
Thank you.
Thanks for your time. Thanks. Appreciate it. Hey, Max, we're actually going to leave you right here for this quick social tournament. Good stuff.
Thank you.
Hi, you remember me?
Yes.
I've also dealt with poop recently. I have a 22-month-old.
Oh, nice.
A little.
You're right in.